alarm buzzed her into the same haze. She moved through the rituals: shower, coffee, commute, email, meetings. Life had become a blur of obligations. Until that morning, she was sitting at her desk, pretending to listen during a video call, when a news alert flashed on her phone. Beloved actor Chadwick Boseman dies of cancer at 43. Emma froze. Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, dead. He had filmed all those movies, 42 Marshall Avengers, while secretly battling stage 4 cancer. She stared at the screen, feeling a strange stirring in her chest. Here was a man who, knowing the clock was ticking, spent his last years pouring every ounce of life into his work. Not for fame, not for awards, but because he believed he still had something to give. Emma closed the app. The video call droned on, but she heard nothing. What would you do if you realized you were wasting your life? That night, Emma couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Chadwick, about all the things she had told herself she would do someday, about the paint set gathering dust in her closet, about the book she had outlined but never written, about the friends she kept saying she'd call but hadn't. She had been sleepwalking through her life, and she wasn't alone. Years ago, there was another story she remembered reading. The story of the nurse, Bronnie Ware, who spent years working in palliative care, listening to the regrets of the dying. The most common regret: I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Emma turned onto her side, clutching the blanket, as if it could anchor her to a life she barely recognized. What would you do if you knew you only had 5 years left? 3, 1. In the days that followed, Emma couldn't shake the question. It followed her into meetings. It trailed her during the commute. It haunted her as she scrolled mindlessly through social media, watching people she barely knew live curated, photogenic lives. The truth was, she had built a life made entirely of shoulds. She should stay at her job because it paid well. She should live in the city because it was safe. She should wait until she had more experience to write, until she had more time, until she had more money, until she had less fear. But what if there was never a perfect time? One evening, she sat down with a notebook, heart hammering, and wrote at the top, "If I wasn't afraid, I would." The list came pouring out. Move to the coast. Start painting again. Write the damn book. Travel alone to Italy. Tell her parents how much she loved them. Call her old best friend and apologize. It was terrifying to see it all laid out so plainly. Dreams she had buried so deeply, she almost forgot they were hers. The next morning, Emma handed in her notice at work. Not dramatically, not impulsively, calmly, purposefully. She moved smaller apartment, sold half her stuff, and took a part-time remote job to pay the bills. The extra hours, she spent them painting at a sunlit studio she found on Craigslist. She started waking up excited for the first time in years. The days still weren't perfect. Some mornings she still felt doubt, still wondered if she was being irresponsible. But the voice inside her was louder now, clearer. 6 months later, Emma self-published her first book, a small collection of essays titled, "What Would You Do If You Woke Up?" She didn't expect anyone to read it, but people did. They wrote her messages like, "I felt like you were writing my story," and "This made me change my life." Emma realized something powerful. Courage was contagious. And here's the thing. Emma wasn't special. She wasn't braver, smarter, or luckier than anyone else. She had just listened. She had asked herself the hard question and answered honestly. You don't have to quit your job tomorrow or move across the world. It starts smaller than that. It starts the moment you stop lying to yourself about what you really want. It starts when you stop saying someday and start asking when. When will you start the thing you keep postponing? When will you tell the person you love how much they mean to you? When will you take the trip, write the book, learn the skill, have the conversation? What would you do if you woke up and realized you already had everything you needed except the courage to use it? Emma isn't a story about fame or fortune. She's a story about waking up. And maybe, just maybe, it's your story too. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe,